Hey there, it's Jordan Karan with Marketing Well. I'm going to move this over. And I was racking my brain trying to figure out what I was going to do for a blog post this month. I was originally going to write about getting Google reviews, but I know as a therapist, it's difficult to get reviews because chances are your regulating body doesn't want you to solicit for reviews. So instead, I'm just going to put a link to my previous blog post, and that's how to increase your Google My Business rankings. Because essentially, that's what that blog post on reviews was going to do, was just trying to help you how to improve your Google My Business profiles rankings, which ties into SEO, which then leads into what I wanted to actually blog about. And I'm going to do a video and transcribe it, just giving you a rundown of the most important thing in SEO. And no matter what it is you're doing right now, you can at least do this. So the reason why I'm writing or recording this video and blogging about SEO for therapists is that I've had a lot of inquiries about how to improve SEO and therapists wondering in my SEO services. Now, I manage it on a monthly basis, but sometimes it's unattainable in terms of the fees that I'm charging for the therapists that I've reached out to or that have reached out to me who are looking for the service. So instead, I've said, hey, I offer SEO consulting, and that's something that I can do. But again, I want to give you a head start and just by giving you an idea of what's going on with SEO and again, the number one thing that you can do to improve your rankings right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you to a search result, and I've typed in therapist Victoria, BC. So I'm in Victoria, BC, Canada. And when I type that in, I'm going to run you through what goes into these rankings. There's over 200 factors. I'll try to minimize them to just a couple that you can get started on right now, which are going to be the most impactful for you. So, of course, first thing we see is Google Ads, and that's something that I offer is Google Ads for therapists. But below that, we start to see some results. So the first results are some directories, and directories can be a form of SEO. And I highly encourage you, if your website isn't ranking for various search terms, to then attach yourselves to website directories, like in this case, Counseling BC, Psychology Today, to give yourself an opportunity to not only be seen by somebody who's searching in some of these keywords, but also to help your website's SEO. And what's going to happen is when you have a directory listing, you're going to have a link back to your website, and that's good from an SEO perspective. So first things first, try to get yourself listed in these directories. I know Psychology Today charges. I'm not sure what their fees are, but it can be quite useful. At the end of the day, you're in competition with all the other therapists and counselors who are in these directories, but still it's helpful from the search engine perspective, Google or Bing, when they see your profile and see your website link on one of these directories. But also, too, it could, again, help if somebody sees your listing and goes to it and then contacts you. It's a form of SEO. We call that Barnacle SEO, basically attaching yourselves to a website or directory that's ranking ahead of you for some of these keywords. So below that, we're going to see the Google Maps, and my previous blog post talked about how to improve your rankings there. Go read that. I won't get into that for now, but what we're going to then see is finally we're going to see some people also ask, which is interesting. You can look at these types of keywords and you can then start to create blog content around these. So if I was a therapist, what I would be doing is I would be writing blog posts asking or answering these questions. So Google and any search engine is a problem solver. Generally, people are going to it to get a question answered, or they're looking for something, which is a problem, and they need a solution, which is a website or a business. So thinking about blog content, look at this, and you can write blog content just answering these questions. How much does therapy cost in BC? That's a blog post right there. Do you need a referral to see a therapist in BC? No, you don't, obviously. I mean, it's helpful. But writing a blog post about that can be helpful. And then you'll see a few other questions, I believe, down at the bottom. Oh, maybe not. But that can give you a good idea of a blog post strategy. And also, too, you can include these questions on your homepage, which is what I'm going to talk about now. So in the case of Heart and Oak Therapy, this is actually a client that I worked with about 5 years ago in my, we'll call it broader marketing company, Meaningful Marketing. So that was before I decided to niche down into helping therapists. This was actually one of my first therapist clients. And based on the results I got them, that led me to then starting Marketing Well and focusing just on therapists. So when we look at their website, the number one thing I want you to look at is their page title. Excuse me. So right now we have counseling in Victoria, BC, heart and oak therapy, which is interesting because we typed in therapists, but Google ranked this website even though it says counseling. And this is something that is called LSI and an LSI keyword. So therapists and counselors are basically the same thing. And Google knows that. So when you type in therapist, they know you're looking for a counselor. So you can target both of those. However, when you're when you're optimizing the content on your page, you want to refer to yourself as not only a counselor but a therapist too. Okay, so again, looking at that page title, this is a Squarespace website, and the SEO page title for the homepage, you want to make it geared towards a keyword. And then at the end of it, you can include your business name. So for them, we had targeted counseling in Victoria, BC, and then we put their business name, Heart and Oak Therapy. And then you can see below that the meta description. So the meta description, you also want to include those keywords. And you can see dynamic and relatable counselors offering counseling and therapy for anxiety, body image issues, trauma therapy, and couples in Victoria, BC. This is perfect. So now you start to see we've got some bolded text here. And that's because therapy in Victoria, BC were searched. Google points those out because they're in the meta description. So this is a really bang on, not only SEO page title, but SEO meta description. Now, when we go to that page, we can start to see some other content. So if you have done any sort of research on SEO, it's very important that you have your keywords mentioned on your homepage. Now, you don't want to overdo it, but you want to make sure you have them included. And the easiest way is right off the bat, including what is called an H1 header tag, your keyword, your main keyword that you're targeting as an H1 header tag. And then you can include some other headings, but then the rest of the page, the text, you want to try to include those words. If you're targeting just general, broader therapy or counseling, and then your city, you just want to include those in there. And again, remembering to swap out. So refer to yourself as a therapist once and then a counselor another time, vice versa. It's therapy and counseling. You want to try to include both keywords in there. Ideally, you want to have at least 300 to 600 words of text on your homepage. That gives Google enough text to crawl and enough opportunity for you to inject your keywords into your homepage. So again, this is the most important thing when it comes to SEO, is making sure, first off, your website page description and page title are optimized with keywords. And in this case, the page title shows up in blue, and then the description shows down below. And then again, on your page, you want to include those keywords and mention them. So they've done a pretty good job here. And again, there's a ton of other factors, but if you want to get started with SEO right now, this is where you have to start. And the sooner you do this, the easier it comes. If you are going to invest more time into SEO, if you're going to hire somebody like myself, because you're going to at least have a head start. Now, generally what happens in SEO, most people do not optimize their website in this case. And what they do is they just, leave their web developer, or maybe their own, if they did it themselves, whatever content management system, CMS system they've used, they've just included the current title tags, which aren't extremely helpful. Because as we kind of scroll down, as I will say, go to way deep down the list, I'll pull up one right here for an example. So not to pick on this individual here, Jody Lampert, but you can see that like her homepage title, she's got a little bit of mentioning of marriage and family therapy in Victoria, BC, but her homepage title is just her name. So if I was to advise Jody to do something with her website, it would be, okay, optimize your homepage title right now and change it. Maybe she just wants to focus specifically on marriage and family therapy. Well, then that would be the case for this page. Target marriage and family therapy in Victoria, BC, and have this whole entire page optimized. So she's kind of got it here on the page, but importantly, got to have it on this page title here. So she's got it on the page, but she's got to have it in the page title. That is going to be extremely important. And then in coming up with a meta description, and I've got a tool which I can scour and see, she's got no meta description listed. And that's why Google has basically just taken that mention marriage and family therapy, Victoria, BC right here on her website, put it in and ranked it. Now, if I again was her, I would tell her to optimize this for that type of that type of therapy, which is marriage and family. And down the road, I'll get into how to optimize your website for other types of searches. But for right now, again, I just want to focus on particularly the main homepage, because the main homepage, that's where you want to target the bigger search terms. And in this case, is the broader, which is just therapy, is getting more searches than specific types of therapy. So hopefully this helps. And again, I'm going to be creating more videos like this and blog posts to do with SEO, because there's a ton of different things that are involved in SEO. But this is the number one most important thing that you can do right now to give yourself a head start and start to generate some traffic and potential clients from your SEO work.